The velvet box in Marcus Chen's jacket pocket had worn smooth from 7 years of constant touch, the edges softened by his fingers finding it every single day since the moment Emma Harrison had looked him in the eyes and said no. He stood now in the lobby of his flagship hotel, the Grand Meridian in downtown Seattle, watching his staff move efficiently through their morning routines. The marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers, and guests moved through the space with the ease that came from excellent service. Marcus had built this empire from nothing, starting with a single struggling bed and breakfast he had purchased at 23 with every dollar he could borrow. Now, at 32, he owned 17 luxury hotels across the country, each one more successful than the last. But success felt hollow when he reached into his pocket during board meetings, during ribbon cuttings, during champagne toasts, celebrating another record-breaking quarter. His fingers would find that box, and he would remember Emma's face that night on the beach, the way the moonlight had caught in her hair, the way her eyes had filled with tears when she had gently pushed the ring back toward him. "I cannot marry you, Marcus," she had whispered. "You are dreaming too big, reaching for things that might never come. I need stability. I need certainty. My father lost everything chasing dreams, and I watched it destroy my mother. I cannot live that life." He had been 25 then, working 18-hour days to keep his third hotel from going under, living on coffee and ambition, asking her to believe in a future he could barely see himself. She had been 23, scared and practical, having just watched her parents lose their home to foreclosure. He understood her fear even as it shattered him. Marcus had not seen Emma in 7 years. She had moved away from Seattle shortly after that night, taking a job in Portland. He had heard through mutual friends that she was doing well, working as an accountant, living a quiet life. He had never stopped carrying the ring. "Mr. Chen." His assistant's voice pulled him from his thoughts. "The new director of events is here for orientation." Marcus turned, forcing his mind back to business. The Grand Meridian was hosting a major charity gala in 3 weeks, a fundraiser for arts education that would bring in the city's elite and hopefully raise over $1 million. His previous events director had left suddenly for a job in New York, and he had been scrambling to find a replacement who could handle such a high-profile event on short notice. "Send them to my office," Marcus said. "I will be right up." He took the elevator to the top floor, his private office overlooking Elliott Bay. The Seattle skyline stretched in all directions, a testament to his success. His office was modern and minimalist, all clean lines and expensive art, the kind of space that impressed investors and intimidated competitors. Marcus settled behind his desk and pulled up the new hires resume on his computer. Claire Mitchell, 30 years old, impressive credentials from various luxury venues in Portland. Strong references, creative portfolio, available to start immediately. He had barely glanced at her application before approving the hire. His HR director had vouched for her, and that was enough. A knock sounded at his door. "Come in," Marcus called. The door opened, and his world tilted sideways. Emma Harrison walked into his office. She froze the moment she saw him, her face going pale, one hand clutching her leather portfolio so tightly her knuckles turned white. She looked different and exactly the same. Her honey blonde hair was shorter now, cut in a professional bob that skimmed her shoulders. She wore a navy suit that hugged curves he remembered too well, and her green eyes were wider now, startled and uncertain. "Marcus," she breathed. He stood slowly, his hand automatically going to his jacket pocket, feeling the ring box press against his palm. "Emma, I thought I was meeting Claire Mitchell." She swallowed hard. "Claire is my middle name, Emma Claire. I have been using it professionally since I moved to Portland. Harrison is too common, and Mitchell was my grandmother's maiden name. It helps me stand out in the industry." The explanation tumbled out too fast, and Marcus realized she was as shaken as he was. 7 years, and she still affected him like this, still made his heart race and his carefully constructed composure crack. "I see," he managed. "You did not know I owned the Grand Meridian." "I knew Marcus Chen owned it," Emma said carefully. "I did not connect it to you. Chen is common, and I thought you were still working at that little inn outside Tacoma. I did not realize you had." She gestured around the expensive office. "I did not know you had succeeded." Something sharp twisted in Marcus's chest. She had not kept track of him, had not wondered how the dreamer she left behind had fared. He had built an empire while thinking of her every day, and she had not even known his name. "I have done well," he said quietly. "Sit down, please. We should discuss the gala." Emma hesitated, and for a moment he thought she might run. Then she straightened her shoulders and walked to the chair across from his desk, settling into it with the poise of a professional who refused to let personal history interfere with business. "I reviewed the event details last night," Emma said, her voice steady now. 3 weeks is a tight timeline, but the preliminary work is solid. Your previous director laid good groundwork. I will need to meet with the caterer today and confirm the final menu. The entertainment is booked, but I want to review the schedule to ensure smooth transitions. The silent auction items need to be cataloged and displayed properly, and I have some ideas for the layout that might increase bidding." Marcus listened to her talk, watched her hands move as she pulled papers from her portfolio. She had always been organized, always had a plan. It was one of the things he had loved about her, the way her practical nature balanced his wild ambition. But it was also what had driven them apart. "The budget allows for some flexibility," Marcus said. "I want this event to be memorable. The Children's Arts Foundation is important to me." Emma's eyes flickered with something that might have been surprise. "I did not know you were involved in arts education." "There is a lot you do not know about me anymore," Marcus said, and immediately regretted the edge in his voice. A flush crept up Emma's neck. "I suppose that is fair." They worked through the details for an hour, falling into a rhythm that felt achingly familiar. Emma had always understood his vision, had always been able to take his broad ideas and turn them into concrete plans. By the time they finished, Marcus had pages of notes and a renewed confidence that the gala would be spectacular. Emma stood, gathering her papers. "I should meet with the caterer." "Thank you for your time, Mr. Chen." "Marcus," he corrected. "We have known each other too long for formality." She paused, her hand on the door. "That was a long time ago. Things are different now." "Some things," Marcus agreed. His fingers found the ring box again. "Some things have not changed at all." Emma's eyes followed the movement, landing on his pocket, and something flickered across her face before she looked away. "I will send you an update by end of day." Then she was gone, leaving Marcus alone in his office with the scent of her perfume in the air and the weight of 7 years pressing on his chest. Over the next week, Marcus saw Emma every day. She was brilliant at her job, transforming the gala preparations with an efficiency and creativity that impressed even his most skeptical staff. She negotiated with vendors, charmed donors, and solved problems before they became disasters. She was professional and distant, never letting their past intrude on business. But Marcus noticed things. The way she still tucked her hair behind her left ear when she was concentrating. The way she bit her lower lip when reviewing budgets. The way she took her coffee with too much sugar and not enough cream. The way she avoided looking directly at him unless absolutely necessary. He found himself manufacturing reasons to be involved in the gala planning, sitting in on meetings he would normally delegate, reviewing details that should have been beneath his attention as CEO. His executive team noticed, exchanging knowing glances when he insisted on approving the table linens personally. "You are hovering," his CFO, David, told him bluntly over lunch. "You have never micromanaged an event like this before. What is going on?" Marcus pushed his food around his plate. "I want it to be perfect." "You want to be near Emma Mitchell," David corrected. He had known Marcus since college, had been there the night Emma said no. "I wondered when you would realize who she was. HR sent me her file for approval, and I recognized her photo immediately." "Why did you not tell me?" "Because you needed to decide for yourself if you could work with her," David said. "Can you? Or is carrying that ring around for 7 years going to make this impossible?" Marcus's hand went to his pocket automatically. "I can be professional." "Professional is not the problem. You are in love with her, Marcus. You have been in love with her for almost a decade. Seeing her every day, working with her, it is torture. I can see it on your face." "What would you have me do?" Marcus demanded. "Fire her." "She is excellent at her job and we need her for this event. After the gala, she will move to a normal schedule and I will barely see her." David shook his head. "You are lying to yourself. You brought her here for a reason, even if you did not know it was her. The universe is giving you a second chance." "She said no, David. She rejected everything I wanted to build, everything I have become. What makes you think she would feel differently now?" "Maybe she would not," David admitted, "but maybe she would." "You were broke and desperate then, asking her to gamble on a dream. You are successful now, offering her stability and certainty. The very things she said she needed." Marcus shook his head. "I will not use my money to convince her. If she cannot love me for who I am, then my bank account will not change that." "Then talk to her," David urged. "Tell her how you feel. Ask her why she really said no. Get closure or get a second chance, but stop carrying that ring around like a talisman and actually do something." That evening, Marcus stayed late at the hotel, reviewing contracts in his office. He knew Emma was still in the building. She had been working late every night, determined to make the gala perfect. Around 8, he walked down to the events office on the 3rd floor. Emma sat at her desk, surrounded by fabric swatches and flower samples, her hair falling loose from its professional style. She looked tired and beautiful, and Marcus's heart clenched. "You should go home," he said from the doorway. Emma looked up, startled. "I wanted to finalize the centerpieces tonight. The florist needs the order by tomorrow morning." "The florist can wait. You have been working 12-hour days for a week straight." "So have you," Emma pointed out. "Your assistant mentioned you have been here until 10 or 11 every night." Marcus stepped into the office. "I own the hotel. I am allowed to work ridiculous hours." "And I am directing the biggest event of the season," Emma countered. "I need to prove I can handle this." "You have already proven that. The gala is going to be spectacular." Emma set down the fabric swatch she had been studying. "Why are you really here, Marcus?" The question hung between them, heavy with everything they were not saying. Marcus could deflect, could make some excuse about checking on the preparations. Instead, he found himself walking to her desk, pulling out the chair across from her, sitting down. "I have thought about you every day for 7 years," he said quietly. "Every single day. I have wondered where you were, what you were doing, if you were happy. When you walked into my office last week, it felt like the world shifted back into place." Emma's eyes glistened. "Marcus, please do not do this." "Do what?" "Tell you the truth. I have spent 7 years carrying around a ring I bought for a woman who said no. I think I am entitled to ask why." "You know why," Emma whispered. "I told you that night. You told me you needed stability and certainty, but I think there was more to it than that." Emma stood, walking to the window that overlooked the city lights. "My father was like you. Brilliant, ambitious, always chasing the next big thing. He invested everything we had into a restaurant that failed, then a tech startup that went bankrupt, then a real estate venture that collapsed in the recession. Each time he promised my mother it would be different. Each time we lost more. By the time I was 22, my parents were living in a studio apartment, working minimum wage jobs to survive. My mother stopped smiling. My father stopped dreaming. They just existed, broken by all those failed ambitions." She turned to face him, tears on her cheeks. "When you proposed that night, all I could see was my parents. You were working so hard, sacrificing everything for these hotels that might fail. You were asking me to watch you destroy yourself chasing a dream. I could not do it, Marcus. I could not watch someone I loved break apart like that." Marcus stood, crossing to her. "So you loved me?" "Of course I loved you," Emma said, her voice breaking. "I loved you so much it terrified me. That was why I had to say no, because loving you and watching you fail would have destroyed me too." "And what if I had not failed?" Marcus asked. "What if I had succeeded? Then I would have been wrong," Emma admitted. "But I could not take that risk. I am sorry, Marcus. I have been sorry every day since." Marcus reached into his pocket, pulling out the velvet box. Emma's eyes widened as he opened it, revealing the ring inside. A simple solitaire diamond, elegant and classic, the kind of ring he had saved for months to buy on his meager salary. "I bought this ring the week before I proposed," Marcus said. "I had just signed the papers on my third hotel, and I was drowning in debt, barely sleeping, surviving on determination and coffee. But I knew I wanted you beside me. I knew that if I could just make you believe, we could build something amazing together." He closed the box but kept it in his palm. "When you said no, I put this in my pocket, and I have carried it every day since, not as a reminder of failure, but as a reminder of what I was working for. Every hotel I bought, every deal I closed, every success I achieved, I did it knowing that I had not been enough for you then. I wanted to prove to myself that I could be enough." "Marcus, you were always enough," Emma said desperately. "It was me. I was too scared, too damaged by my parents' failures. You were never the problem. Then why did you not keep track of me? Why did you not know that I had succeeded?" Emma flinched. "Because it hurt too much. Seeing your name, hearing about you from mutual friends, wondering if you were happy or if I had broken something in you. I could not bear it, so I cut myself off from anything connected to our past. I changed my name professionally, moved to a new city, built a new life. I tried to forget you." "Did it work?" "No," Emma whispered. "It did not work at all." Marcus slipped the ring box back into his pocket. "I am not the same man I was 7 years ago. I have money now, success, stability, all the things you said you needed. But I am also not trying to buy your affection or prove something to you. I just want you to know that I never stopped loving you. And if there is any chance, any possibility that you might still feel something for me, I need to know." Emma looked at him for a long moment, her green eyes searching his face. Then she reached up and cupped his cheek with her palm, her touch gentle and familiar. "I never stopped loving you either," she said softly. "But I do not know if love is enough. I broke your heart once. What if I am still too scared? What if I still cannot give you what you need?" "Then we figure it out together," Marcus said. He covered her hand with his own. "I am not asking you to marry me, Emma, not tonight. I am just asking you to give us a chance. Have dinner with me. Let me show you who I have become. Let me learn who you are now. We can take it slow." "Slow," Emma repeated, a small smile touching her lips. "That is not a word I associate with you." "I have learned patience," Marcus said. 7 years of carrying a ring teaches you that." Emma laughed, a real laugh that lit up her whole face, and Marcus felt something tight in his chest finally loosen. She stepped closer and he wrapped his arms around her, holding her against his chest. She fit perfectly, her head tucked under his chin, her hands fisting in his shirt. "Dinner," Emma murmured. "We can start with dinner." Their first date was the following night. Marcus took Emma to a small Italian restaurant in Pike Place Market, a place with red checkered tablecloths and candles in wine bottles, nothing fancy or designed to impress. He wanted to remind her of who they had been together, before money and fear had complicated everything. They talked for hours, sharing stories from the past 7 years. Emma told him about Portland, about her work as an accountant for a nonprofit, about the apartment she rented overlooking the Willamette River. She had lived quietly, dating occasionally but never seriously, focusing on her career and rebuilding the financial security her parents had lost. Marcus told her about the hotels, about the long nights and risky investments, about the moments when he had almost given up but pushed through. He told her about his family, about how his mother had cried with pride at his first hotel opening, about his younger sister who now managed his flagship property in San Francisco. "I still cannot believe you own 17 hotels," Emma said, shaking her head. "When I knew you, you were managing that little bed and breakfast, working yourself to exhaustion." "That little bed and breakfast taught me everything," Marcus said. "It was failing when I bought it, hemorrhaging money. I spent 2 years turning it around, learning every aspect of the business from the ground up. By the time I sold it to buy the second property, I knew exactly what I was doing." "You were always smart," Emma said softly. "I never doubted your intelligence. I just doubted whether the world would give you a fair chance." "The world rarely gives anyone a fair chance," Marcus replied. "You have to take what you want and hold on tight." He reached across the table and took her hand. Emma's fingers intertwined with his, and they sat in comfortable silence for a moment, just feeling the connection between them. "I am sorry I did not believe in you," Emma said finally. "I am sorry I let my fear control me." "I am sorry I did not understand how deep that fear went," Marcus countered. "I was so focused on my dreams that I did not see how much you were struggling." "We were young," Emma said. "We made mistakes. And now we are older," Marcus said, squeezing her hand. "Maybe we can make better choices this time." Over the next 2 weeks, they fell into a rhythm. Emma worked on the gala during the day while Marcus handled his usual business. In the evenings, they would have dinner together, sometimes at restaurants, sometimes in Marcus's penthouse apartment on the top floor of the Grand Meridian. They talked about everything and nothing, rebuilding the friendship that had been the foundation of their relationship years ago. Marcus did not push for more than Emma was ready to give. He walked her to her hotel room each night, kissed her softly at the door, and waited for her to set the pace. It was torture and perfect at the same time, this slow rebuilding of trust and connection. The night before the gala, Emma stayed late at the hotel, doing final checks of every detail. Marcus found her in the ballroom at midnight, standing in the center of the space, looking at the tables draped in ivory linens, the stage set for the orchestra, the silent auction items displayed perfectly. "It is beautiful," Marcus said, walking to stand beside her. "It is going to be amazing," Emma agreed. "I think we are going to exceed your fundraising goal. I have no doubt." He slipped his arm around her waist and she leaned against him. "You have worked so hard on this." "I wanted to prove I belonged here," Emma admitted. "I wanted to show you that I was good at what I do." "I never doubted that." Marcus turned her to face him. "Emma, you could have been terrible at event planning and I still would have wanted you here. I did not hire you for your skills." The universe brought you back into my life, and I am not going to waste this second chance. Emma's eyes searched his face. What are you saying? I am saying that I love you, Marcus said simply. I have loved you for 7 years, and I am going to love you for the rest of my life. I know we are taking things slow, and I am not asking you for anything you are not ready to give, but I need you to know how I feel. Emma's breath caught. Marcus, I love you too. I think I have been falling back in love with you since the moment I walked into your office. Maybe I never fell out of love with you at all. He kissed her then, a deep, claiming kiss that made up for 7 years of loneliness. Emma melted against him, her hands sliding up to tangle in his hair, her body fitting perfectly against his. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. Stay with me tonight, he whispered. Not because of what might happen, but because I do not want to be apart from you. Emma nodded, and Marcus took her hand, leading her to the elevator. They rode up to his penthouse in silence, the tension between them electric and sweet. Once inside, Marcus poured them wine, and they sat on his couch overlooking the city lights, Emma tucked against his side. Tell me about the Children's Arts Foundation, Emma said. Why is arts education so important to you? Marcus was quiet for a moment, gathering his thoughts. When I was 10, my family was struggling financially. My father had just lost his job and we were barely making ends meet. The school was going to cut the music program due to budget constraints, and I was devastated. I had just started playing piano, and it was the only thing that made sense to me during that chaotic time. He took a sip of wine, remembering. A local businessman donated money to save the program. I never knew his name, but his generosity changed my life. Music gave me discipline, taught me to work hard toward a goal, gave me confidence. When I started making real money, I knew I wanted to do the same for other kids. The foundation provides instruments, lessons, and arts programs to underprivileged schools across the state. Emma was quiet for a moment. I did not know you played piano. There is a lot we do not know about each other yet, Marcus said. We have 7 years to catch up on. Play something for me, Emma requested. Marcus led her to the grand piano in the corner of his living room, a beautiful Steinway that was one of his few indulgences. He sat down at the bench, and Emma settled beside him. His fingers found the keys, and he began to play a Chopin nocturne, the melody flowing through the penthouse like water. Emma watched his hands move, mesmerized. When he finished, she was crying softly. That was beautiful, she whispered. You inspire beauty, Marcus said, wiping her tears with his thumb. They talked until 3 in the morning, finally falling asleep on the couch, wrapped in each other's arms. Marcus woke first as dawn light filtered through the windows, looking down at Emma's peaceful face. She looked younger in sleep, the worry lines around her eyes smoothed away. He thought about the ring in his jacket pocket, hanging in his closet. Soon, he thought. But not yet. The gala was a triumph. Emma orchestrated everything perfectly, moving through the ballroom with calm confidence, as 500 guests enjoyed dinner, dancing, and generous bidding in the silent auction. Marcus gave a speech about the importance of arts education, announcing a major matching donation that brought the crowd to their feet in applause. But mostly, he watched Emma work, pride swelling in his chest. She was in her element, solving problems seamlessly, charming donors, making sure every detail was perfect. When the final tally came in at $1.3 million raised, the entire events team cheered. As the last guests departed and the cleanup crew began their work, Marcus found Emma in the now empty ballroom, sitting at one of the tables, her heels kicked off, looking exhausted and radiant. You did it, Marcus said, sitting beside her. We did it, Emma corrected. This was a team effort. You were the leader that made it happen." He took her hand. "I am incredibly proud of you." Emma squeezed his fingers. "Thank you for giving me this chance, not just with the gala but with us." "I would give you every chance in the world," Marcus said. "Whatever you need, however long it takes." Emma turned to face him fully. "I do not want to take things slow anymore. I wasted 7 years being afraid, letting my past control my future. I do not want to waste another day." Hope flared in Marcus's chest. "What are you saying?" "I am saying that I know what I want. I want you, Marcus. I want us. I want to build a life together the way we should have done 7 years ago." Marcus stood, pulling her to her feet. "Are you sure? I do not want you to feel rushed or pressured." "I am completely sure," Emma said firmly. "I love you, I trust you, I believe in you." "I should have believed in you 7 years ago, but I am choosing to believe in you now. In us." Marcus pulled the velvet box from his pocket, the same box he had carried for 7 years. Emma's breath caught as he opened it, revealing the ring. "I bought this ring for you 7 years ago," Marcus said. "I have carried it every single day since, waiting for the moment when I could ask you again. Emma Claire Mitchell, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life proving that we can build something beautiful together?" Tears streamed down Emma's face as she nodded. "Yes, yes, Marcus, I will marry you." He slid the ring onto her finger and it fit perfectly, just as he had known it would. Then he was kissing her, and she was laughing and crying at the same time, and the ballroom that had hosted hundreds of people felt like it was made just for the two of them. They were married 3 months later in a small ceremony on the same beach where Marcus had proposed the first time. Only close friends and family attended, and Emma wore a simple white dress that made Marcus's breath catch. When the officiant asked if he took Emma to be his wife, Marcus thought about the 7 years of waiting, the daily touch of the ring box in his pocket, the faith that had kept him believing. "I do," he said, his voice strong and sure. When they kissed as husband and wife, the small crowd cheered, and Marcus picked Emma up and spun her around, both of them laughing with pure joy. Their honeymoon was 2 weeks in Italy, exploring Venice and Florence and the Amalfi Coast. They ate too much pasta, drank too much wine, and made love in beautiful hotel rooms overlooking ancient cities. Emma had quit her job in Portland, taking a permanent position as director of special events for all of Marcus's hotel properties. She was brilliant at it, creating signature experiences at each location that drew rave reviews and increased bookings. But more than that, she was his partner in every sense of the word. She understood the business, contributed ideas, challenged him when he was being too aggressive or too cautious. They worked together seamlessly, balancing each other's strengths and weaknesses. A year after their wedding, Emma discovered she was pregnant. Marcus cried when she told him, overwhelmed with joy and gratitude that life had given him this second chance at happiness. Their daughter, Lily, was born on a rainy October evening with a full head of dark hair and her mother's green eyes. Marcus held his daughter for the first time and felt his world expand in ways he had never imagined. He thought about his own childhood, about the music program that had saved him, about the businessman whose donation had changed his life. "I want to do more," he told Emma that night in the hospital, Lily sleeping peacefully in her bassinet. "The foundation is doing good work, but I want to expand it. I want to create programs in every state, give more kids the opportunities I had." Emma smiled at him, tired but glowing. "Then let us do it. We can build something amazing together." And they did. Over the next 5 years, the Children's Arts Foundation grew exponentially under Marcus and Emma's leadership. They opened music schools, provided scholarships, funded arts programs in hundreds of schools. Marcus reduced his direct involvement in the hotel business, promoting excellent managers to handle day-to-day operations while he focused on the foundation. Emma worked part-time, managing special projects while raising Lily and later, their son James. On their 7th anniversary, Marcus took Emma back to the beach where he had proposed twice. Lily and James were with Marcus's sister for the weekend, giving them rare alone time. They walked along the shore as the sun set, hand in hand, comfortable in the silence that came from deep knowing. "Do you remember the first time we were here?" Marcus asked. "Every detail," Emma said. "I remember how nervous you looked, how you fumbled with the ring box. I remember the moonlight on the water and the way your voice shook when you asked me to marry you." "I remember your face when you said no," Marcus replied. "I remember feeling like my heart was being ripped out of my chest." Emma stopped walking, turning to face him. "I am so sorry I hurt you. If I could go back and change that moment, I would." "I would not," Marcus said, surprising her. "Because those 7 years made me who I am. They taught me patience and persistence. They showed me that some things are worth waiting for, worth fighting for. If you had said yes that first time, maybe we would not have appreciated what we have now." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "You are a better person than I am. I would go back and say yes in a heartbeat, save us both 7 years of loneliness. But then I might not have built the hotel empire," Marcus pointed out. "Every hotel I bought, I was running toward success but also running from heartbreak. The pain drove me to work harder, to prove that I was worth something. And the hotels gave us the resources to build the foundation, to help thousands of kids. Maybe everything happened exactly as it was supposed to." "Maybe," Emma agreed softly. "Or maybe we just got incredibly lucky to find our way back to each other." Marcus pulled her close, kissing her forehead. "I do not believe in luck. I believe in fate. I believe that some people are meant to be together, and the universe will keep bringing them back to each other until they get it right." "We got it right," Emma murmured against his chest. "We got it so right." They stood there as the sun sank below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, holding each other and thinking about the journey that had brought them to this moment. Later that night, back in their hotel suite, Emma found Marcus standing on the balcony, looking out at the ocean. She wrapped her arms around him from behind, resting her cheek against his shoulder blade. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "The ring," Marcus admitted. "I carried it for so long that my pocket feels empty without it. Sometimes I reach for it out of habit, and I am surprised when it is not there." Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled back, taking his hand and leading him inside. She opened her jewelry box and pulled out a small velvet pouch. From it, she withdrew the engagement ring, the simple solitaire that had waited 7 years to find its home on her finger. "I had it made into a necklace," Emma said, showing him the delicate chain threaded through a custom setting. "I wear it sometimes when I want to remember how far we have come. The ring that waited is also the ring that brought us back together." Marcus took the necklace, holding it up to the light. The diamond caught the lamplight, sending tiny rainbows across the room. "It is beautiful," he said. "It is a reminder," Emma corrected, "that some things are worth waiting for, that fear can be overcome, that love endures even when everything else falls apart." Marcus clasped the necklace around her neck, the ring settling just above her heart. Then he kissed her, pouring 7 years of love and longing and gratitude into the connection between them. They made love slowly that night, taking their time, celebrating the life they had built together. Afterward, lying tangled in the sheets, Emma traced patterns on Marcus's chest. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked quietly. "Waiting for me. You could have moved on, found someone else, built a life with someone who believed in you from the start." "Never," Marcus said firmly. "You are my person, Emma. You always were. Waiting for you was not a choice." It was just what I had to do. I do not deserve you, Emma whispered. Marcus tilted her chin up, making her look at him. You deserve everything good in this world. You deserve love and happiness and security. You deserve a partner who will build dreams with you, not ask you to sacrifice everything for those dreams. We are equals in this marriage. We support each other. That is how it should be. Emma smiled, her eyes shining. How did I get so lucky? Fate, Marcus reminded her. Not luck. They fell asleep wrapped around each other, the necklace with its precious ring resting between them, a symbol of patience and persistence and love that refused to die. The years continued to unfold with a richness that sometimes took Marcus's breath away. Lily grew into a curious, creative child who loved music as much as her father did. Marcus taught her to play piano, watching with pride as her small fingers learned to coax melodies from the keys. James was more reserved, thoughtful, preferring books to instruments, but showing an early aptitude for numbers that made Emma laugh. He is going to be an accountant like his mother, she would say, ruffling his hair. The foundation continued to grow, touching more lives every year. Marcus and Emma attended recitals and art shows featuring students from their programs, always moved by the talent and passion on display. They funded a scholarship program that sent gifted students to prestigious arts colleges, investing in the next generation of musicians, dancers, and artists. The hotel business thrived under the management teams Marcus had carefully cultivated. He still attended board meetings and made major decisions, but he no longer worked the grueling hours of his youth. He had learned to delegate, to trust his team, to prioritize family over empire building. On weekends, they would often escape to a small cabin Marcus had bought in the mountains, a place with no internet and minimal cell service, where they could be just a family. They hiked through forests, roasted marshmallows over campfires, and told stories under star-filled skies. These were the moments Marcus treasured most, when success and wealth faded into the background and all that mattered was Emma's laugh, Lily's imagination, James's quiet observations. One evening, as they sat on the cabin's porch watching the sunset, Lily climbed into Marcus's lap. "Daddy, why do you always touch your pocket?" she asked. Marcus looked down at his hand, surprised to find it resting on his jacket pocket out of habit, even though the ring had not been there in years. "It is an old habit, sweetheart," he said. "From what?" Lily persisted. Marcus glanced at Emma, who smiled encouragingly. "A long time ago, before you were born, I carried something very important in that pocket. I carried it for 7 years, every single day." "What was it?" "A ring," Marcus said. "An engagement ring for your mother. I asked her to marry me once and she said no, so I carried the ring and waited until she was ready to say yes." Lily's eyes went wide. "Mama said no. Why?" "Because I was scared," Emma said, joining the conversation. "I was afraid that things would not work out, that we would fail." "But your father never stopped believing in us. He waited for me to be brave enough to believe too." 7 years is a long time," Lily said solemnly. "It is," Marcus agreed, "but your mother was worth every single day of waiting." "That is so romantic," Lily sighed, and both Marcus and Emma laughed. That night, after the children were asleep, Emma found Marcus sitting by the fire, staring into the flames. "You are thinking about the ring again," she said, settling beside him. "I am thinking about how different my life could have been," Marcus admitted. "If you had said yes that first time, or if you had never come back, or if I had stopped carrying the ring and moved on. There were so many moments when things could have gone a different way." "But they did not," Emma said. "We found our way back to each other. That has to mean something." "It means everything," Marcus said. He took her hand, running his thumb over her wedding band. I used to think success meant building an empire, proving I could overcome any obstacle. But real success is this. It is you and me and our children. It is the foundation helping kids discover their passions. It is knowing that I wake up every morning next to the woman I love. Emma leaned her head on his shoulder. You know what I think about sometimes? I think about the version of me that said no on that beach. She was so scared, so convinced that loving you would lead to disaster. I wish I could go back and tell her that everything would be okay, that taking the risk would be the best decision she ever made. She would not have believed you, Marcus said gently. She had to learn that in her own time, travel her own journey. We both did. I suppose you are right, Emma said, but I still wish I could give us those 7 years back. Marcus turned to face her fully. Emma, listen to me. Those 7 years were not wasted. They made us who we are. They taught us lessons we needed to learn. And now we appreciate each other in ways we might not have otherwise. I do not regret a single day, because every day brought me closer to this moment, right here with you. Emma kissed him softly. I love you so much. I love you too, Marcus replied. Forever. As their 10th anniversary approached, Marcus planned something special. He had bought the old bed and breakfast where he had worked when he first proposed to Emma, the property that had launched his hotel empire. It had changed hands several times over the years and had fallen into disrepair. Marcus bought it quietly, then spent 6 months renovating it, restoring it to its former charm while adding modern amenities. He told Emma he had a business trip planned for their anniversary weekend, arranging for his sister to take the children. Then he drove Emma north along the coast to the property, watching her face as recognition dawned. Marcus, is this the inn? Emma asked, staring at the beautifully restored building. It was, Marcus said. Now it is ours. I bought it and renovated it. I thought we could spend our anniversary here, where everything started. Emma got out of the car slowly, walking up to the building with wonder on her face. Marcus had kept the original charm, the wraparound porch and gabled roof, but updated everything else. Inside, the rooms were tastefully decorated, blending vintage character with contemporary comfort. It is beautiful, Emma breathed. Marcus, this must have cost a fortune. Money well spent, Marcus said, wrapping his arms around her from behind. I wanted to own this piece of our history. This is where I was working when I first told you I loved you. This is where I planned that first proposal. This is where I started building the foundation for our future. Emma turned in his arms, tears streaming down her face. You are the most romantic man alive. Only for you, Marcus said, wiping her tears. Come on, let me show you the rest. He led her through the renovated inn, showing her the details he had personally selected. The library with its floor-to-ceiling bookshelves and fireplace. The kitchen with its commercial-grade appliances. The master's suite with its 4-poster bed and balcony overlooking the ocean. I thought we could use this as a weekend retreat, Marcus explained. A place to escape when we need quiet. We could also use it as a venue for small foundation events, workshops for young artists, retreats for our scholarship recipients. It is perfect, Emma said. Marcus, I cannot believe you did this. I would do anything for you, Marcus said simply. You know that by now. They spent the weekend at the inn, making new memories in the place where their story had begun. They walked the grounds, cooked meals together in the big kitchen, made love in the master's suite with the ocean breeze coming through the open windows. On their anniversary night, Marcus led Emma down to the beach as the sun set. This feels familiar, Emma said, squeezing his hand. It should, Marcus replied. We have been here twice before. Once when you said no, once when you said yes. I thought a third visit was appropriate. They walked to the spot where he had knelt both times, the sand soft beneath their feet, the waves rolling in steady rhythm. Marcus turned to face Emma, taking both her hands in his. 10 years ago, I asked you to marry me, and you said no. 7 years ago, I asked again, and you said yes. Tonight, I am not asking anything, I am just thanking you. Thanking me, Emma asked, confused. For coming back, Marcus said. For giving us a second chance, for being brave enough to overcome your fear, for building this beautiful life with me. For our children, for our partnership, for every single day we have spent together. You have given me everything I ever dreamed of and things I did not even know I wanted. So thank you, Emma. Thank you for saying yes. Emma was crying openly now, and Marcus pulled her close, holding her as the sun sank below the horizon. Thank you for waiting, Emma whispered against his chest. Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for carrying that ring every day and believing we would find our way back to each other. I love you, Marcus Chen. I will love you until my last breath. They stood there as darkness fell and stars began to appear, two people who had found each other, lost each other, and found each other again. The journey had not been easy or straightforward, but it had brought them to this moment, this perfect alignment of love and timing and fate. Years continued to pass, each one bringing new joys and challenges. Lily discovered a passion for violin and won a competition that earned her a spot in a prestigious youth orchestra. James developed an interest in hotel management, spending summers working at various properties in Marcus's portfolio, learning the business from the ground up. Emma's work with the foundation expanded to include international programs, bringing arts education to underprivileged communities around the world. Marcus gradually transitioned from CEO to chairman of his hotel company, letting younger executives take over daily operations while he focused on strategic direction and the foundation. He and Emma traveled frequently, visiting foundation programs, attending arts events, and occasionally just escaping to enjoy each other's company. On their 20th anniversary, their children now teenagers, Marcus and Emma returned once again to the beach. It had become their tradition, this pilgrimage to the place where their story had pivoted. I have been thinking, Emma said as they walked along the shore, about the what-ifs. What if I had said yes that first time? What if you had not carried the ring? What if I had never taken the job at the Grand Meridian? Those are dangerous thoughts, Marcus said. You can drive yourself crazy with what-ifs. I know, Emma agreed, but I also think they are important because every what-if leads back to gratitude. I am grateful for every choice we made, even the painful ones, because they brought us here. Marcus stopped walking, pulling Emma into his arms. At 52, he was still handsome, his dark hair now streaked with silver, his face lined with years of laughter and hard work. Emma at 50 was beautiful in ways that took his breath away, her confidence and grace only deepening with time. You know what I am most proud of? Marcus asked. The hotels. The foundation, Emma guessed. Us, Marcus said. We built something that lasts. Not just a marriage, but a partnership. We raised incredible children. We created opportunities for thousands of kids. We made a difference in the world. But more than any of that, we chose each other every single day. Even when it was hard, even when we were tired or frustrated or overwhelmed, we chose us. That is my greatest achievement. Emma smiled, reaching up to trace the lines of his face. Mine too. Everything good in my life came from saying yes to you. I just wish I had been smart enough to say it 7 years earlier. Stop wishing away those 7 years, Marcus said firmly. They were part of our story. They made us appreciate what we have. I carried that ring every day not as punishment but as hope. And that hope sustained me through building my business, through lonely nights, through moments when I wondered if I was crazy for waiting. The ring was my talisman, my reminder that some things are worth fighting for. You ever miss it? Emma asked. Having it in your pocket, Marcus smiled. Sometimes. But then I look at you wearing it around your neck, or I see our children, or I walk into one of our foundation schools and hear kids making music, and I realize that the ring served its purpose. It brought me back to you. Everything else is just the happy ending we wrote together. They watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple, the ocean stretching endlessly before them. Somewhere in the distance, a ship's horn sounded and seagulls called overhead. It was a perfect moment, simple and profound. I love you, Emma said. I love you too, Marcus replied. For 20 more years, and 20 after that, and all the years beyond. Forever, Emma agreed, and kissed him as the sun slipped below the horizon. Their story was not the fairy tale of love at first sight or the drama of obstacles overcome. It was quieter than that, more real. It was the story of two people who found each other, lost each other, and refused to let go of the possibility that they were meant to be together. It was about patience and persistence, about carrying hope like a precious object, about believing in second chances even when the world said to move on. Marcus Chen had carried a ring in his pocket for 7 years, a physical reminder of love rejected but not abandoned. That ring had been a burden and a blessing, a weight and a comfort. But more than anything, it had been a promise to himself that some dreams were worth waiting for, that some people were worth fighting for, that true love could survive even time and distance and fear. When Emma Harrison walked back into his life, when fate gave them another chance, they had both been different people. Older, wiser, scarred by their choices but also strengthened by them. They built a life together that honored both their dreams and their fears, that balanced ambition with stability, passion with practicality. They raised children who knew they were loved, who watched their parents treat each other with respect and affection, who learned that real love was not just feeling but choice, not just passion but partnership. They built a foundation that changed lives, giving opportunities to children who might otherwise never discover their gifts. They created a hotel empire that provided jobs and experiences for thousands of people. But more than any external achievement, Marcus and Emma built a marriage that lasted. Through illnesses and arguments, through celebrations and sorrows, through the ordinary moments that make up a life, they chose each other. The ring that had waited in Marcus's pocket for 7 years became the symbol of their love, a love that was patient and kind, that endured all things, that never failed. On their 40th anniversary, Marcus and Emma returned to the beach one final time. They were in their 70s now, both retired from active work, spending their days with grandchildren and foundation events and quiet mornings watching the sunrise. Their bodies were slower, their faces lined with age, but the love between them burned as bright as ever. 40 years, Emma marveled, leaning against Marcus as they sat on a bench overlooking the ocean. Plus the 7 years before, we have known each other nearly 50 years. Best 50 years of my life, Marcus said, kissing her temple. Do you remember the young man who proposed on this beach the first time? Emma asked. So earnest and hopeful, convinced he could build an empire. I remember him, Marcus said. He was naive and stubborn and absolutely certain that you were his future. He was right, Emma said softly. About everything. The empire, the future, us. He had help, Marcus said. From a woman who was brave enough to come back, to admit she was wrong, to take a risk on a second chance. They sat in comfortable silence, watching waves roll in and out, the eternal rhythm of the ocean mirroring the steady beat of their love. Around Emma's neck, she still wore the necklace with the engagement ring, the diamond catching the afternoon light. I have been thinking about that ring, Marcus said. About the tradition we started coming back to this beach. I want to give it to Lily. Emma's hand went to the necklace. Why Lily? Because she is like us, Marcus said. Romantic and determined, someone who believes in fate and fighting for love. I want her to have the ring that waited, to know that some things are worth holding on to even when the world tells you to let go. That is beautiful, Emma said, tears in her eyes. She will treasure it. As will her children, and their children, Marcus said. The ring that waited will become part of our family legacy, a reminder that patience and persistence and faith can overcome any obstacle. Emma turned to face him fully, taking his weathered hands in hers. Thank you for waiting for me, Marcus. Thank you for every single day of those 7 years. Thank you for believing in us when I could not. Thank you for coming back, Marcus replied. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for 40 years of partnership and love and adventure. Thank you for being my wife, my partner, my best friend. They kissed, a gentle brush of lips that held 40 years of love, of shared history, of promises kept. When they pulled apart, both were smiling, their eyes bright with tears and joy. The sun began to set, painting the sky in the colors they had watched together so many times before. Marcus and Emma sat together on their bench, holding hands, watching the light fade into darkness, grateful for every moment, every choice, every year that had brought them to this place. The ring that had waited 7 years in Marcus's pocket had found its home on Emma's finger, and later around her neck, and soon would pass to their daughter as a symbol of enduring love. It was just a ring, just a piece of metal and stone, but it carried with it a story of patience and hope, of love that refused to die, of second chances that changed everything. Marcus Chen had carried that ring every day for 7 years, believing against all evidence that Emma Harrison would be his wife. And in the end, belief had been enough. Belief and patience and a stubborn refusal to let go of the dream of a life built together. They were proof that some stories do not end when you expect them to, that rejection is not always final, that time and distance cannot kill true love. They were proof that carrying hope, even in a small velvet box in your pocket, can sustain you through years of waiting. They were proof that second chances exist, and when they come, grabbing them with both hands can lead to happily ever after. As darkness fell completely and stars emerged overhead, Marcus and Emma stood slowly, their joints protesting age but their spirits as young as they had been on that beach decades ago. They walked hand in hand back to their car, back to their life, back to the family and legacy they had built together. The ring that waited had found its purpose, and the love story it represented would echo through generations. A reminder that the best things in life are worth waiting for, and that true love, once found, will always find its way home.